Welcome to another video from Velomobile Heaven. This time the topic is not so heavenly because as you see me riding down the Saar Valley towards Kreuzberg on the River Aar, I would like to show you how it looks like from just driving through at the Aar River in the villages by the Aar River. 2.5 years after the flood, which killed about 180 people, destroyed more than 9,000 buildings, over 100 bridges severely damaged or destroyed, the railroad destroyed, many roads destroyed, and I think over 17,000 people lost everything they had. Still, the damage of this formerly very beautiful valley is clearly visible, as you will see by yourself. 3 years of Pinot Noir grapes have been harvested since then and have been turned or are being turned into wonderful red wine. And gradually the first tourists are coming back. Now, we're entering the town of Kreuzberg. You see the castle there on the right, up on the rocks, and when you look at the left, you will see that many of these buildings were severely damaged during the flood, because the water had no alternative but to go there. The valley is, the Saarbach Valley was also flooded, is very narrow, as is the Aar River Valley between Kreuzberg and Neuen-Ahr, where we will be riding today. And there comes the rest of the Wednesday gang, and soon we'll be going on. It's a bit difficult to find the right road because there are so many detours and construction still going on. So I get confused. I go here every once in a while, but every time I come, the routing is slightly different, and you'll see me here pretty confused where to go. Well, it doesn't help that while I was trying to navigate, I was still munching on my sandwich. But now I know I'm wrong. So some backsliding, back rolling. You see that the chain is not running properly on the cassette. But off we go, and Barbara will soon be catching up once she has turned around. But you see here, you know, it's construction everywhere, and the road is still very dirty because there's still a lot of earth is being moved around, and there's a lot of construction work, trucks, heavy trucks passing through, and you see that on the roads. It is still far away from being pretty the way it was before. Oh, I see the gang is waiting, so I will stop too. Kurz auf Barbara warten. Die ist leider in die gleiche Falle gegangen wie ich auch. Da ist sie aber auch schon. Yes, this is how it goes. We're together again, and we're driving on. Next village will be Altenburg. Altenburg was almost completely destroyed because that's also where there's plenty of rocks around, and so the river has to make some very tight turns to run through Altenburg. We're not there yet, so this road we're just passing under is the main road that leads towards Bonn. And that runs up on the mountain and through a couple of tunnels. So That road was not affected at all by the flood. But here you have to imagine that where I'm right in, there was between 9 and 10 meters of water above me. So all those houses there, the ground floor and up to into the first floor have been flooded, which means that many of these buildings, you just can't live there anymore. You have to completely rebuild them, or everything has to go out till you have the bare walls, and then you have to build it up all again. To the left of the road here, for about, I think, almost the next kilometer, you see on the other side of the river is to the left, right to the left of the road, there was a big campground. I think one of the biggest campgrounds on the R here. And it was, of course, it was all destroyed. It was completely underwater, and everything got destroyed there, and probably will take years before anybody dares to come back to this place after that experience. It was very popular among Dutch tourists because this is the closest scenic mountain area to the Netherlands. And now we're reaching Altenaar, one of the larger towns on the R, and probably one of the tourist centers next to the town of Arweiler. I wouldn't say it was very pretty, but it has the ruins of a nice castle up on the mountain that you see right ahead, and it was very touristy. But the entire tourist infrastructure has been destroyed. Look at that hotel and restaurant there, completely destroyed. The first two floors and other buildings as well. So everywhere, the houses had to be fully renovated or rebuilt in total. As we pass through the main street here of Altenaar, you can see how much work is going on and has been going on already over the past 2 years. But still, it's construction sites everywhere. Here to the right, you see that's where the river had to go. It's very narrow, it's winding, and that led to a disastrous flood in that night on the 14th to the 15th of July 2021. And you see here the road is new. The river comes around from the right side and merges with the road here. The road had to be completely rebuilt because it was destroyed. Fortunately, the two railway bridges have survived. One was used by the railway, which is largely destroyed, by the way. The other was a bike trail, which runs nicely along the R River Valley for most of its length, but also has been destroyed down here in this section. We're now reaching the town of Maeshoes, and this used to be here where I'm slowing down and stopping, the entry towards town where the road had been carved into the rocks. Where I'm stopping now to the right was a big building, hotel and restaurant, completely gone, had to be taken down because it was completely destroyed. And as I wait for the gang to catch up, you see this is they took the road out of the mountains because there is no other way because the valley is so narrow. And the building straight ahead was also a hotel and restaurant, very old one. On the right side there's an old, I think it is a water mill, which got destroyed. And here the hotel is already under renovation. The main building is completely new here. and on the left side of the road as well. That used to be the restaurant and will again be a restaurant, I believe. And as we continue on to the town of Maishos, you see that the buildings on the left side are all gone or mostly gone. There were some and still are some nice wineries here with wine tasting and restaurants, but most of them got destroyed. The bridge to the right has been renewed. I think it was gone. To the left is the cooperative of the winemakers of Maishos, and straight ahead was another restaurant. That's the cooperative, and that there was the restaurant. And we're entering now Main Street, or the main part of Maishos, where the river is to the right here, and the main road to the left side, the main street, heavily destroyed because the flood was so high here. And you can still see some of the old buildings seem to have taken the damage easier than many of the new ones. And we're leaving town. See, always on the left side is all construction, reconstruction going on. Actually, this part of the river valley is very nice. It's very picturesque, with the rock formations and the vineyards rising steeply above the river. And when you ride here, actually, it still is very pretty, but when you look closer, the destruction is immense. Here, there used to be a bridge. The entire area has to be remodeled because it was completely washed away by water. All to the right here. Many of the buildings have suffered. And here's a dam of the railroad that protected the area to the left a little bit. This is where we could make a turn right and go through Walporzheim onto Ahrweiler and Bad Neuenahr. But mostly these days, after riding through so much destruction, we have a certain desire for some scenic ride, and so we go straight ahead and then make a left turn onto a small vineyard road that runs above the street, but just below the vineyards that rise up on the hillside there to the left. And this is nice. It's a bit of a roller coaster, as you see here. Now we're dipping down and then have to go up on the other side. That's fun. And it's nice views. Maybe fortunately the view towards the right, overlooking the village of Walporzheim and then on to Ahrweiler, is a bit obstructed because we are so low. But then again, we don't see much of the destruction that is still visible from up here. But we have the larger view, and we have the vineyards to the left. And that is pretty. That is nice. And it's good riding. There's no cars. There's hikers, occasional hikers and cyclists. but that's about it. You don't really go that fast. It probably looks a bit faster than it actually is if you look at the speedometer readings to the right. We're not going really fast, but since the road is narrow, it's a farm road essentially. It feels faster and looks faster than it actually is. And you see it goes up to 7, 8, 9% on these short uphills, but then there's another little downhill coming, and some of these roller coasters you take using your momentum. Others you just gear down a little bit and pedal over. I'm showing you these sections here largely uncut. It's just a few kilometers long, but it's nice riding, and particularly if you know the alternative. If you have been through the urban traffic of Aweiler, which is coming up to the right here, or Bad Neuenahr, the even larger sister town a bit further down. Particularly Bad Neuenahr has a lot of traffic, has a lot of roads coming together from various sides, and is not a very velomobile-friendly place. And at some point we then have to leave this vineyard trail and take the main road. So here's another short, quick view of Aweiler. Aweiler is a pretty town. It's still one of those towns that has a complete city wall around it, which is interesting. Not many have that. In many places, city walls have taken down after they had become strategically meaningless centuries ago, but not Aweiler. So it's still there with the gate towers controlling the entrance to town, but the water swept right through on that night of the flood. So every once in a while there's an intersection with a small road coming up from the town and leading into the vineyards. And there could be traffic, car traffic, but also winery traffic. So that's a good opportunity to get together again, regroup, and then ride on. As you will see, we're one rider short. One rider had left us ahead of the town of Dernau to take one of our usual routes out of the Ahr River Valley up through the vineyards. So she's been heading over the mountains because along the Rhine there's also high water, and some of the river trails are not usable. But we're willing to take the risk, so we continue on towards the Rhine, whereas one rider took the mountain road to home. Pretty soon we'll be joining the road to our right now and head through, and with the flow of traffic, through the next villages to the final stage of following the Ahr, where the Ahr River Valley is even wider than it is here now. See, that's where's the road, and we're on that road now. We've passed through the villages. The last one was the village of Heppingen, and here you see how wide the valley has become. There is quite some flat area to the side of the road, or to both sides actually, of the road here. See here now how widely the valley opens as we approach the Rhine. The hills that you see to the right and left of the road, these are the last hills of the Ahr Valley. The valley is very wide already, and it's becoming even wider once we have passed these hills to the left and right, which is the case now. You will soon see when the camera faces forward that now the hills, see that's the last hill on the left side, but beyond that the next hills that you see will already be on the other side of the Rhine, which is here, flows essentially from the right to the left. These meadows over here at the end of World War II were part of huge prisoners of war camp, actually several camps along the Rhine and in the Ahr Valley here. I think up to 300,000 prisoners of war were kept here as the Allied forces had moved forward and were controlling all of the area west of the Rhine. Nowadays there's a chapel and there's a memorial to commemorate that. So, mountains are gone. The Ahr has nearly come to its end, and the final stretch here is by a bypass, a little bypass trail. So sparing us the traffic of Sinzig, which is the town to the right here, and we can leave out the main roads. Can leave out the main roads and take this path, which will take us to the village of Kripp, where there is the ferry, if the ferry runs, over to the other side of the river, to the town of Linz. I'll share a few impressions with you of this. You see here, this is all area that cannot really be built up because it is traditional flooding area of the Ahr River, when there is not a huge flood like 2.5 years ago, but sort of the regular type of spring floods or high water areas. This is when these meadows will be covered by maybe 1/2 meter or a bit more of water. The village of Kripp is a bit higher up to the left here, so it won't be affected by these regular floodings. The trail now is fully paved, which was not the case before the flood, which is one of the advantages of having survived a flood, that sometimes the infrastructure gets a bit better than before. So this is Kripp now behind us, and we're riding down to the riverside. Of course, there's also houses on the riverside, but the heart of the village of Kripp is behind us. Whereas these houses here enjoy a view over the river onto the other side. Very popular because the Rhine still attracts the bulk of tourism in this area.
Wow. Das ist noch ganz schön viel, huh?
Ja.
I have never left this ferry going down, always going up the ramp. So it's quite a lot of water. Probably if the high water had been higher, the ferry traffic would have been discontinued. So we're leaving the ferry here. Bicycles have to share the left side of the ferry with the pedestrians. Don't go towards the town of Linz. We just take the road on the right side of the river here because the river trails are flooded anyway, and ride home north towards Bonn. And we're coming to the end of another one of those ride videos.
Und, ist aufgesetzt? Ja? Aha. Bist du auch aufgesetzt, Hajo? Ja. Aber auch nur minimal. Ja, wir waren ja jetzt praktisch schon höher. Ne? Also normalerweise ist man immer tiefer, also es geht hoch. Jetzt ging es ja praktisch runter.
Okay, hope you had a bit of fun watching this video, and we'll stay tuned until next time. Bye-bye.